In this chapter, we're going to talk about decision making and how to go about making decisions in a Java program. Decision making is important because a program has to be able to make a choice between different values and determine what type of processing to do based on a comparison of different values. So for example, in a payroll program, the program needs to know if the hours worked is greater than 40, because then the worker gets overtime. In a program that's checking usernames and passwords, the program has to see if a password matches the chosen password based on the username. So decision making is quite crucial to programs. In this first lesson, we're going to talk about the relational operators. These are the operators that let us compare two values to see if they're the same, or if one is greater than the other, or if one is less than the other. Lots of different comparisons. So let's look at those comparison operators, also called the relational operators. Now, what I've done is I've got a program started, and I'm going to discuss the operators within this comment section, or at least show them. The first relational operator is the equality operator, the double equal sign. So the double equal sign stands for equality. When you compare two values using the double equal sign, it will return a Boolean value, either true or false. So for example, in this little short program right here, we have hello equals hello. So we're comparing this first string hello with this second string hello, and that will return a Boolean value, true or false. Let's just look and see what it shows just to go through the motions here. So we'll save the program, let's clear the screen, Java C chapter part 1.java, and then Java chap 8 part 1. And you'll see it returns true because the string hello is equal to the string hello, given that the letters are exactly the same. Now, if we change the second hello to a capital H, then the result is going to be different. Let's look at it first, and then I'll discuss why. Compile it and run it again, and we'll see that now the answer is false. Well, that's because the first H in the first hello is lowercase, and the second H, or the first H in the second hello, is uppercase. When Java is making comparisons between strings, it looks at the ASCII value of each letter. So the ASCII value of lowercase h is not the same as the ASCII value of the uppercase h, and that's why you have that discrepancy. And of course, we can also perform the same task with numbers. I'll just write one out real quick. 2 equals 2. I won't run this. You can guess what's going to happen there. The next relational operator that we're going to discuss is the greater than sign. And again, you can probably guess exactly how that's going to work. Let's just replace this equality statement with the greater than statement. So 2 greater than 2 is going to be false. If we compare hello with hello greater than, it will depend on if the ASCII value of lowercase h is greater than the ASCII value of the uppercase h. If so, then the statement is true, otherwise it's false. The next operator we have is greater than or equal to. So here, let's go back to the numeric statement again. Here we have 2 greater than equal to. That will return true. If we change it to greater than equal to 3, that will return false. And the same sort of comparison can be done with strings, and it will again depend on the ASCII value of the letters in the order of comparison. And what I mean by that, the order of comparison will be the first letter of the first word compared to the first letter of the second string, and then the second letter to the second letter to the third letter to the third letter. That's how the comparison is done. Okay, after greater than or equal to, then we have less than. So here we have 2 less than 3, and of course that's true. Whereas if we reversed it and said 3 less than 2, it would be false. You can imagine how the less than works. And then we have less than or equal to. I forgot to caption it there, so let me go back up and put a caption there. And here we have less than or equal to. And again here, if we said 2 is less than or equal to 3, that would be true. But if we turned around and said 3 is less than or equal to 2, that again would be false, because 3 is not less than or is it equal to. The last relational operator is not equal to. Let's go back and look at our strings again. Hello not equal to hello would return true, since the h in the second string is uppercase and the h in the first string is lowercase. We can always do these comparisons with variables because the values of the variables are what are compared. So if I had, for example, let's look at a simple example. String password equals password. And then I had another string, my password equals, and then we compared these two. That comparison would be true because these two variables do not contain the same values. They differ by one letter. So the ASCII comparison would return false. So that's an overview of the relational operators that we'll use in making decisions in Java. As we get into the decision-making statement, the if statement, we'll see a lot more use of the relational operators, and you'll have a better chance to work with them and get used to how they operate. When we have an expression such as password not equal to my password, that's considered a relational expression. And for some situations, a single relational expression will do and is all you need to make a decision. But sometimes you're going to need to combine more than one relational expression, two or more. And in that case, you're going to need another operator to do that comparison, and those are called the logical operators. There are situations when working with relational expressions where just one relational expression won't do. Say, for example, you're writing a payroll program, and the only people that can get overtime are people who work over 40 hours a week and make less than, say, $50,000 a year. So your two relational expressions would have to be hours worked greater than 40 and salary less than or equal to $50,000. So you see that and combines the first relational expression with the second relational expression. There's also an or connective where you might say, like, if username equals name or username equals username, something like that. We'll look at some examples here in just a second. The first logical operator is the AND. AND is written with two ampersands, like so. Let's take a look at an example. I'll do a little program here. We won't actually calculate anything, but I'll use that to demonstrate how the AND works. So here I have an integer variable hours worked that's equal to 43, and a salary variable that's equal to 47,000. Let me indent those, get them off the comments there. If I wanted to compare these two in the payroll example I used earlier, I might write it out like this, although I wouldn't put it in a system out print line. So I'll write hours worked greater than 40 and salary less than or equal to 50,000. So the AND combines this expression's result, its Boolean result, with this expression's result. So if you remember anything about logic or discrete math, you know that the truth table for AND, for both expressions to be true, each sub-expression has to be true. So in this case, this whole expression, hours worked greater than 40 and salary less than or equal to 50,000, is true because both sub-expressions are true. If we changed hours worked to 39, for example, then the whole expression would be false because the first part of the expression is false. So that's how the logical AND works. The other operator that we're going to talk about now, there's actually a third not, which we're going to save for another time. The other operator, OR, looks like this. It's two bars, and the bar is a shift backslash on your keyboard. So the two bars is the OR logical operator. And let's take a look at how that would work. Let's say we have string password equals, and what we might do in a password situation is we might check it both when it's all lowercase or all uppercase. So we might write something like this. Password equals lowercase guest, or password equals like so. And again, from discrete math or logic, we know that if either sub-expression is true, then the whole expression is true. So in this case, the expression is true because this part or this sub-expression is true. Password equals lowercase guest. Both sub-expressions don't have to be true, just one or the other, and it doesn't matter which one. So if the password had been stored like this, then the second sub-expression would be true, and the whole expression, the whole OR expression, would be true because the second part was true. Logical operators are used in more complex situations, and quite honestly, they don't come up all that often in an introductory Java course, but they do come up enough that we needed to talk about how they work. With this discussion of the relational operators and the discussion of the logical operators, we're ready to move on and begin looking at how to actually make decisions in Java by discussing the if statement, and we'll do that in the next video.